Welcome to Customizing BricsCAD. My name is Ralph Grabowski, and it's my pleasure to show you how to make BricsCAD work the way you work. You are probably familiar with the array command that lets you make multiple copies in patterns. And here I'm, for example, drawing the polar array. And we're going to make 4 copies centered around this spot. But what if we want to change the array? Say we want to have 5 copies or change the angle. Well, you'd have to erase that and start over again. Fortunately, BricsCAD has a better way. I'm going to repeat what I just did, but using a new command in BricsCAD, and that's called the polar array command. Now it is different from the array command in that there is no dialog box. It all operates at the command line. It's prompting me to select the entities. I'm going to select this block, and I'm done with that. And wants me to pick a center point, so I'll pick one, say here, and now it's instantly created the array. If you don't like what you see there, then you continue at the command line to change things. For example, I'm going to enter in the items option. I type the letter I, press enter, and say I want 4. Or I can change that to, let's take a bigger number, 20. And that's quite a pretty pattern, isn't it? Now it'll also change the angle between each item. So let's type in A for angle. And right now the angle is 18. What happens if we put in, say, half that number, 9? Now there's still the same number of items, which is 20, but they have a smaller angle between them, which gives you a partial polar array. Okay, let's change the angle back to 18, and there we are back again. So you can see how it's very interactive. You can fine-tune the array until it is what you want. Change number of items back to, say, 5. And all this is possible because the array is associative. You can turn off the associativity with the associative option, yes or no, but obviously we want it to stay associative so we can make these changes. In addition to a single polar array like that, you can have multiple ones, and that's where the row option comes in. So right now there's just one row. Let's put in 3, and there you can see there what that looks like. And we're getting some pretty nice starburst patterns here out of that north symbol. There's a levels option, and that's for a 3D array. So let's make it for 3 and 100 feet between each one. And I'm going to exit the command. Let's take a look at it in the 3D. You can see that it's a 3D array now. The command for creating rectangular associative arrays is somewhat similar, so I'm going to show you quite a different one. It's called the array path command. Now, like before, it all operates on the command line. It's asking me to select an entity to array, so I pick the block, and then a path curve, so I've pre-drawn this spline, and there you go. Now you can, of course, now change all these things. When you change the number of items, it uses the same system as the measure and distance command, so you can either specify distance between items or the total number of items along the path. So right here we have, let's change that to 20 feet. And now they're a lot closer. Number of items, so let's say 10, and now it's a lot shorter because the distance between each one is quite short. Similarly, you can have the rows where you have multiple versions of it, but they're all bunched up because they're going along this curve, and the curve is created much like the offset command, as well as levels for doing a 3D version. What's a bit different from array polar is that how you align them. I'm going to enter in the A option for align along the path, yes or no. I'm going to say yes, and now they align themselves, changing direction as the path changes. Another one is tangent direction. This one can be a bit difficult to understand. I'm going to enter in the default, which is normal, and they seem to have disappeared. Oh, I see those lines. Well, what it actually is normal means in the Z direction. Okay, so once you've drawn your associative array and it's here a few commands later, can you change that associative array? Well, certainly you can. It's very simple. All you need to do is double click it, and the array edit command starts up. So for example, we've got 3 levels. Well, let's change the levels back to 1. Now back to looking at the top view, you can change things like the fill angle, the angle between items, and so on. But there's a far more interesting one. I'm going to draw a little circle here, a little red circle, and I'm going to go back into the array edit command, double click, and there's this replace option. So I'm going to type in REP, abbreviation for replace, and it's asking for the replacement objects. So I'll select the circle, press enter, the base point, default centroid, so I'll press enter there. Now select an item in the array to replace. So I'm going to pick 1, 2, 3, 4. Now nothing has happened yet. I'll press enter. Magic, they're replaced by those circles. Once again, they're part of the array, so I can so I'm going to change the angle between items. Let's say change it to 26 instead of 36. And when I press enter, the circles are still there. I trust you enjoyed learning how to make BricsCAD work the way you work. For more on customizing BricsCAD, check out the ebook.
Download the free trial version of BricsCAD at www.brixis.com and check it out for yourself.